It all begins when our female protagonist, Rin Nanakura, arrives at Kuban Private High School for the first time. She feels lost and is eager to find the drama club. Then she notices a boy, so she doesn't hesitate to ask him where the drama club room is located. This boy introduces himself as Eiji Kitahama, who will be our male protagonist. To the girl's pleasant surprise, he turns out to be the president of the drama club, so he leads her to the club room without hesitation. Upon arriving, Eiji introduces her to his superiors, including the real president of the drama club, whose name is Monokuni Nakayama. Rin is left speechless, as she can't believe Eiji lied to her about being the club president. Setting this aside, Subuta Owada, the president's right-hand man, encourages our female protagonist to give a small demonstration of her acting skills. With the help of Monokuni, she recreates a scene from Romeo and Juliet, leaving him, Suguto, and the other club members quite impressed. Because of this, the president immediately asks Rin to join the club, considering that her inclusion will be essential for the club's progress. Without a second thought, she accepts, which greatly surprises Eiji. It turns out that Eiji doesn't act at all. His role in the drama club is to manage the stage props. That's why he was overcome with envy when Rin was accepted into the drama club. For this reason, Eiji asks Rin to imitate girls with different personalities, as his biggest desire is to have a harem of girls. Without hesitation, Rin acts as girls with various personalities, impressing him since her performance is so convincing that he even begins to think she might not be acting at all. The next day, while the boy is working on props, he starts feeling hungry, so he loudly mentions needing something to eat. Rin offers him some of her food, but does so while acting like it's Sundeer. Eiji gets upset by this, as he would have preferred her to act differently. That's when the boy pulls out some cat ears and paws and hands them to Rin, as he wants her to act like an otaku girl. She agrees to do it, though she feels very embarrassed. Shortly after, Eiji tries to take a picture of her but can't find his phone anywhere. He asks Rin for help, and although she agrees, she does so while acting like an indifferent girl. Because of this, Eiji asks her to act like someone who is more concerned and genuinely willing to help. Rin listens to him and acts as a tsundere girl again, and thanks to this, she helps him find his phone with a simple call. That evening, the drama club members tell a horror story in the club room. The story terrifies both Eiji and Suguto, but Rin is the most scared of all. She gets so frightened that she asks Eiji to watch over her while she changes clothes. Eiji can't help but feel excited, as Rin is acting just like a tsundere girl, something he loves. He then knocks loudly on the door where Rin is, which helps her calm down after the club's horror story session. On a new day, Eiji shows Rin the wallpaper on his phone, which is a picture of the drama club president's face. She smiles at the photo, and seeing this, Eiji immediately wants to take her picture since he wants her to be his new wallpaper. Unfortunately, the picture Eiji takes doesn't flatter Rin, so he tries again, but once again it turns out badly, so he asks Monokuni for help. Monokuni smiles, making the same face as in Eiji's phone wallpaper photo. Thanks to this, Rin smiles, and at that exact moment, Eiji captures the perfect photo, which will now be his phone's wallpaper. Later, Eiji finds himself in a food competition against Suguto. The latter is in the lead, so Eiji brings Rin to help him. She feels cornered, as she must taste Eiji's and Suguto's dishes without knowing which dish belongs to whom. This sends Rin into a crisis because she liked the second dish more than the first one, and with much hesitation, she chooses the second dish as the winner. To her surprise, it turns out to be Eiji's dish, giving him a point. The downside is that Suguto already had a point given by Monokuni, so the food competition ends in a tie. The next day, Rin arrives at the high school completely transformed with a new hairstyle and outfit. Eiji is utterly amazed, finding her much prettier than before, which makes him feel miserable since he arrived with messy hair after staying up late. Rin's new look isn't just visual. Her personality has also changed completely. The new Rin doesn't hesitate to offer her coat to Eiji on this cold day. He is surprised by her gesture, and in response, she pretends to be disinterested in him, acting like she only offered her coat out of obligation. Seeing this, Eiji immediately returns it to her, as he believes it's his duty as a man to please girls. This leaves Rin quite nervous, to the point where she blushes deeply. On a new day, Rin shows Eiji a picture of her little sister. The boy is very surprised because Rin looks nothing like her younger sister. On the other hand, seeing the photo of Rin's little sister makes Eiji wish he had a younger sister of his own. In response, Rin doesn't hesitate to pretend to be his little sister, but her performance is so convincing that Eiji prefers she act as his older sister instead. When Rin agrees, Eiji wastes no time in teasing her, as this is the price she has to pay for pretending to be his older sister. Later, after a play where Rin performed quite well while being observed by Eiji, the two share a funny moment together. Eiji had decided to buy her sweets as a reward for her good acting. The difficult part was that he couldn't decide what kind of sweet to buy because Rin kept acting as girls with different personalities. Because of this, in the end, Eiji bought various sweets for all of Rin's personalities, something that made her feel quite embarrassed. The next day, our male protagonist arrives at school completely sick, as he unfortunately has a high fever. He tries to avoid Rin because he doesn't want to infect her, but since he can't help being near her because she likes spending time with him, he decides to give her a mask so she won't catch his fever. Suddenly, he passes out due to the fever, and Rin takes him home and cares for him. Not only did she take him home, but she also cooked something delicious for him and helped him change clothes, though she was quite embarrassed about it. Eiji found the situation funny and unusual, seeing how far Rin was willing to go just to help him. Christmas arrives, and with it, our protagonists buy lots of gifts for themselves and enjoy a lovely evening walk under the starry sky together. The downside is that they won't be able to see each other for a while because winter break has begun. Rin is very bored in her room, and her boredom is so overwhelming that she doesn't hesitate to call Eiji. During the call, she reveals that she wants to see him, and to her surprise, he wants to see her too, so he invites her to the temple. Once they visit the temple, the first thing they do is make their New Year's wishes, as they want a better year than the last. After that, they go to check their fortunes for the new year. Rin gets very excited when she reads that she will have good luck in the coming year, though this isn't entirely true. A few days later, the protagonists return to school, and Rin seems quite studious as she is in the library studying. Eiji is very surprised by this since she is not usually a studious girl, so he doesn't hesitate to tease her by saying that no matter how much she studies, she'll never be a smart girl. Rin gets angry at him, and before she can scold him, she asks why he came to the library in the first place. He responds that he came to look for a giant book to use as decoration for the drama club stage. This gives Rin a good opportunity to take advantage of being alone with him. She doesn't hesitate to help him make the giant book he needs, and after that, they both take a break and watch the sky. While doing this, Eiji goes overboard with Rin, repeatedly mentioning that she looks cuter than the sky. This makes Rin very nervous, and she even gets confused because she doesn't know if Eiji's words were sincere or not, as their relationship is almost always based on acting. For this reason, Rin can't sleep at night thinking about Eiji's words. She likes him, but she doesn't know if he likes her, which leads her to overthink the situation. She wants to confess her feelings to him, but she doesn't know if she'll be able to do it as herself. The next day, the protagonists are in the school gym practicing their acting. Eiji doesn't know much about acting, so he struggles a lot, especially in front of Rin. When Rin sees that Eiji is having difficulty acting, she doesn't hesitate to let him know that she loves acting alongside him. Unfortunately, Rin said this sincerely, so she tries to pretend she was acting. To her misfortune, Eiji noticed that she was being sincere, so he teases her about it. This makes Rin so angry that she tries to hit him because she still doesn't feel ready to be completely honest with him. On a new day at Koban High, Rin, with the help of her drama club partner Megu, disguises herself as the new president of the club. She introduces herself as such to Eiji, who can't help but notice how much she has changed. He shows her his respect, but she can't help but break character as president because of how absurd she feels pretending to be someone so imposing. Because of this, she treats Eiji in a gentler manner, just like the real Rin would, but this ends in complete disaster. She extended her hand to him, and when he took it, he said something rather peculiar that made Rin nervous. Later, in the drama club room, Eiji shows Rin the drawings of Modokuni and Suguto that he made. She finds them funny, so she asks him to draw her as well. When Eiji does so, Rin is quite disappointed as he portrayed her as an angry girl. Due to her disappointment, Eiji redraws Rin, but this time he does even worse, drawing her as a demon girl. In response, Eiji retracts his previous drawings and this time draws a completely different Rin, a cute Rin that looks like a little teddy bear. Thanks to this drawing, Rin feels much better and stops thinking that Eiji views her in a negative light. After that, Eiji invites Rin to watch a horror movie. Although she is not happy about it because she hates horror films, Eiji reassures her that he will be by her side throughout the whole movie, which completely calms Rin down. On another day, our protagonists go shopping since they realize they need new clothes. While they're out, Rin touches her hair and feels the need to cut it. She thinks about going to a hair salon, but before she can do so, Eiji lets her know that she looks good with long hair. After this, he gently strokes her hair, causing her to blush nervously, and she decides not to cut her hair, as if Eiji likes it long, then she does too. On another completely new day, while all the drama club members are rehearsing in the school gym, Rin is in a separate room teasing Eiji. She looks through the school's photo album and laughs every time she sees Eiji as a child. In addition, she begins acting like a flirty girl, not hesitating to get very close to him. As a result, Eiji accidentally hammers his finger, as he got nervous from Rin's closeness. At that moment, the club president arrives and Rin and Eiji hide, not wanting to be seen slacking off while the other members practice. Afterward, they go to the nurse's office since Eiji needs to treat the injury on his finger. While there, Rin carefully examines Eiji's middle school uniform. She asks if he followed the famous tradition of giving the second button of his uniform to someone he's interested in. He replies that he didn't, but he believes it's not too late to do so. Eiji approaches his middle school uniform, carefully removes the second button, and hands it to Rin. She is surprised, but feeling like he did it out of obligation, she asks him to do it again. He agrees and she imagines he's doing it to declare his feelings for her, but then he explains that he's only doing it to appease her flirty personality. This leaves her quite disappointed. Later, Eiji checks his locker, hoping to find love letters, but as always, there's nothing there. Rin finds it curious why he's expecting a love letter, so Eiji has no choice but to explain that his biggest dream is to have a large harem of girls who idolize him and fight for his love. After hearing this, Rin gets an idea. The next day, for the first time, Eiji finds several love letters, and although he initially feels happy, he is disappointed to learn that Rin wrote them. The good thing is that Rin wrote these letters while acting as her various personalities, which completely charms Eiji to the point that he eagerly wants to reply to each one of them. But before he can do so, he discovers a special letter in which Rin confesses her love to Eiji. He starts to read it, and when Rin realizes that letter shouldn't be in his hands, she tries to take it away from him. She yells at him and scolds him for trying to read her most personal letter. On an outing to the city shrine, Rin can't help but feel sad because she had wished to come to this place with Eiji, but instead she had to come with her friend Megu. Megu, noticing Rin's sadness, decides to pretend to be Eiji to cheer her up. But even this couldn't make Rin smile. This is reflected in the various photos Megu took of Rin during their shrine visit. Later at school, Eiji sees the pictures and can't help but notice that Rin looks quite sad. Because of this, he asks her why she looks so unhappy in the photos, and she is left speechless, as she doesn't want to confess that it was because of him. Afterward, during drama club practice, the two share some fun moments. First, Eiji offers Rin a drink that's described as terrible. To his surprise, Rin seems to enjoy the drink at first, but soon reveals that she actually found it really disgusting. After this, they play a game of saying romantic lines to each other to see how good they are at improvising. Eiji says several bold phrases like "I like you" and "I love you." These lines obviously shock Rin, causing her to break character and lose the romantic improv game. The next day, our male protagonist injures his arm while playing sports and goes to the infirmary. Unfortunately, the nurse isn't there. However, his loyal and willing friend Rin is, so she doesn't hesitate to take care of his injury. After dressing up as a nurse, she carefully treats the wound on his forearm. He feels much better afterward, though he lets her know that the forearm injury isn't the only one he has. He shows her that he also hurt his abdomen, and when he does, Rin becomes quite nervous after seeing that part of his body. To avoid thinking sinful thoughts, she proposes a vision game. She pretends that Eiji has bad eyesight, and she acts as an eye doctor who has to help him see better. They both have fun during this game as Eiji laughs at the situation and at Rin, and she can't help but laugh too, not knowing how they ended up in such a strange situation. A few days later, while the two are heading home in the middle of a heavy storm, Eiji can't stop overthinking, curious if Rin is afraid of thunder. Although it doesn't seem like it, she isn't scared of thunder, but when one strikes nearby, she gets extremely frightened, acting like a little girl. Because of this, Eiji doesn't want Rin to go home alone, so he invites her to stay at his house until the storm passes. Once at Eiji's house, he lends Rin some clothes, and once she puts them on, she can't help but feel happy, not only because she's at his house, but also because she's wearing his clothes, making her feel like she's his girlfriend. After that, she enters Eiji's room and becomes even happier. But this joy doesn't last long because Eiji informs her that his mother just got home from work. This fills Rin with fear, but it doesn't stop her from formally introducing herself to Eiji's mother. Afterward, the three of them have dinner together, and after dinner, Eiji walks Rin home. On the way, Eiji mentions that he's happy to have had such a pleasant time with the people he loves most in the world. Without thinking, Eiji tells Rin that he hopes she comes back to his house soon. Realizing what he said, he starts blushing, and when Rin notices, she teases him for it, and she had never seen him blush before. On a new day at the academy, Eiji finally meets Rin's younger sister, Ayaka. He treats her kindly, and she feels very comfortable with the boy's warm treatment. When Rin arrives, Ayaka doesn't hesitate to want to tell Eiji Rin's biggest secret. She sometimes tends to be lazy. Upon hearing this, Eiji begs Rin to act like a lazy girl, and though she initially seemed annoyed by his request, she eventually agrees. Thus, Rin starts acting like a lazy girl and stays in character the entire time, which greatly impresses Eiji, as he's never seen Rin act so committed before. A few days later, our protagonists have to clean the drama club room as it's a necessary task before they can enjoy their summer vacation. After cleaning the room, the protagonists enjoy their break by going to various places. First, they attend a festival with their drama club group. Our protagonists split from the group because Rin wants to be alone and enjoy some one-on-one time with Eiji. After playing some games and eating cotton candy, Eiji thinks it's time to rejoin the group. Luckily for him, the other members pass by them. But since Rin still wants to be alone with Eiji, she forces a mask on him to keep him from being recognized. Meanwhile, she covers her own face with the cotton candy. This way, the two can continue enjoying the festival alone. On another day, the protagonists continue enjoying their vacation, this time going to the city pool, where they have to take care of Ayaka and her friend named Mo. Eiji can't handle this simple task because his desire to jump in the pool and play like a child is too strong. So he doesn't hesitate to use Rin as a hiding spot so that Ayaka and Mo won't find him. The little girls approach Rin to ask about Eiji's whereabouts. Rin, wanting to help Eiji, lies to them. With a serious face, Rin tells them that Eiji disintegrated in the water. Hearing this, the little girls are completely frightened and leave without another word. After that, Eiji can finally breathe a sigh of relief since the girls won't look for him anymore. Of course, he thanks Rin for her great help, and to make her feel good, He compliments her swimsuit, which makes Rin blush. A few weeks later, Rin visits her grandparents' house in the countryside. Feeling completely alone, she decides to chat with Eiji, and while doing so, she sends him a couple of videos to pass the time. Luckily for her, Eiji does the same, as he also finds himself completely alone in the drama club room. Both have fun texting each other. Meanwhile, Rin's little sister is at the beach, playing with her friend named Shiro. He wants to go bug hunting with Ayaka, but she just wants to go to the beach. The little girl doesn't hesitate to ask Shiro in a suggestive way, which makes him uncomfortable. It turns out that Ayaka is trying to imitate Rin's acting, and though she does it well, Shiro doesn't understand what she's trying to express. Left with no choice, he agrees to her request to go to the beach. Once they arrive, Shiro collapses on the ground, exhausted from the long walk and the blazing sun. He tells Ayaka that he didn't bring a swimsuit, so he won't be able to go in the water. Also, he's too tired to run toward the sea. Because of this, Ayaka offers him some of her water, but she does so by getting too close to him, which makes him so nervous that he runs straight into the ocean without hesitation. After a few days, our protagonists perform a farewell scene on the stage in the school gym. Rin takes her role so seriously that her performance is phenomenal. Her role is of a girl who has to say goodbye to her high school love. On Eiji's side, he simply plays a tree. Except it's a special tree because it can talk. Of course, Eiji talking isn't part of the script, which is why Rin gets distracted repeatedly by the boy's interruptions. When the moment comes for Rin to approach the tree and cry after losing her great love, she becomes nervous as we remember that the tree is played by Eiji. In response, Eiji shouts at her to approach him and continue her performance without shame, but since trees don't talk, the club president decided to cut the improvisation. The next day, our male protagonist arrives at school carrying a camera in his hands. He plans to record Rin all day because he wants to make a documentary about her. Although we managed to record enough footage and ask her some interview-style questions before he could ask the big question. What do you think about becoming the drama club star? The camera's battery unfortunately run out of power. At nightfall, our protagonists go shopping at the supermarket, and afterward, they head to the school for a spooky night with the other drama club members. During this scary night, the only one not having a good time is Rin, as she is terrified of ghosts. As a result, Eiji had to escort her throughout the night, even to the girls' bathroom. The next morning, the cultural festival at Kelvin High School begins. While all the students are busy setting up their booths, Eiji has to prepare the stage for the play that will be performed on this special day. He has a lot of work to do, so he won't have time to enjoy the festival with Rin, something she completely understands. However, to her surprise, Eiji took the trouble to buy her several items from the festival, which only annoyed Rin since she really wanted to enjoy the festival with him. Eiji understands her, so he makes a proposal. He tells her that if she gives a good performance in the play, they'll give her a reward. She blushes at this and becomes so nervous that she feels she's going to give a terrible performance because Eiji unconsciously pressured her by saying he'd reward her for a good performance. Because of this, she exclaims that he should give her the reward regardless of her performance in the play. He agrees but soon regrets it when she reveals that she wants her reward to be a date between the two of them. A few days later, the date between our protagonists takes place. They travel to Kyoto, and the first thing they do is watch a musical titled Antonio and Maria. While Eiji is on the verge of falling asleep during the musical, Rin is completely focused on it, as the performance truly captivated her. Afterward, the two explore much of Kyoto in search of the perfect souvenirs to take home, and after buying several, they visit a hot spring house where Eiji falls asleep as soon as he lies down on the floor. When Rin sees him, she doesn't hesitate to join him and ends up falling asleep beside him. Upon waking up, Rin says a very suggestive phrase that catches Eiji's attention. She says, "I wish I could spend the rest of my life like this with you." As soon as she realizes what she said, Rin tries to retract her words, apologizing to Eiji and explaining that she said it because she had just woken up. Eiji understands, so he doesn't hesitate to accept her apology. However, Rin still feels embarrassed about what she said and can't help but feel very nervous on the way back home. She feels the same even after several days, but fortunately for her, Eiji reassures her by saying that he hopes to have another outing alone with her. She's so happy to hear this that she doesn't hesitate to choose the location for their next date, a cat cafe. Eiji agrees and they say goodbye as he has things to take care of. Rin, for her part, feels happy knowing that she'll have a second date with Eiji. In the middle of a day cleaning the drama club's room, Rin finds a time capsule. Inside the capsule was a love letter, where a girl named Rin confessed her love to a boy named Ryo. Obviously, the other members of the drama club, including Eiji, think that the letter was written by Rin, and in response, she lets them know that it wasn't her, clarifying that it's just a coincidence that she has the same name as the owner of the letter. After finishing reading the love letter, Rin tells the others that the Rin from the letter seems to have been unable to confess her love to that Ryo, which makes everyone sad. As a result, Motokuni takes the time capsule and decides to keep it, as he doesn't want to hear any sadder stories of unrequited love. On the side of our protagonists, they are left deep in thought about the situation, wondering what will happen to them in the future. After a nice conversation, they both agree that whatever happens to them in the future, they will continue acting like teenagers whenever they meet again. A few days later, as New Year's Eve approaches, Rin calls Eiji to let him know that she will be spending New Year's Eve at her grandparents' house. Because of this, she can't sleep well, as she would like to celebrate the new year with her parents. Since she can't sleep, she acts like a tsundere girl to get Eiji to wish her good night, and thanks to this, she sleeps peacefully. After New Year's Eve, the protagonists make their wishes at the temple. While Eiji wishes to have new experiences in the little time he has left in high school before graduating, Rin wishes for her diet to take effect. Eiji's wish affects the girl as she doesn't want to be separated from Eiji again. On the other hand, Rin's wish amuses Eiji, which completely annoys the poor girl. On a new day at high school, Eiji is surprised to find out that he will finally be able to act in a play. The downside is that he will have to play a dying prince since the play to be performed is none other than Snow White, but with some additional changes. While Eiji will act as the prince, Rin will act as Princess Snow White. This makes both of them nervous as there is a moment in the play where they have to kiss. As a result, the protagonists become very nervous, and this affects Eiji so much that he takes his role as a dying prince literally. Even so, on the day of the play, our protagonists are excited to perform, completely forgetting about the kissing scene. When the play begins, everything goes well until the long-awaited kiss scene arrives. Rin slowly approaches Eiji, feeling very nervous about what she's about to do. She kisses him, but suddenly all the lights go out because Megu, Rin's friend, helped ensure that the audience couldn't see the kiss. Obviously, Eiji felt Rin's lips, and that's why he continued with his role, albeit in a more nervous manner since he didn't think Rin would actually kiss him. After the play ended, Eiji tries to talk to Rin about what happened, but she pretends nothing happened, acting like it's tsundere. Because of this, Eiji plays along and they both start acting. They reenact the moment when they first met, where she asked him where the drama club room was, and he pretended to be the club president. As expected, they couldn't contain their laughter for long, as recreating this scene made them both have fun. The next day, the graduation ceremony for the final year students is held, including Eiji, Suguto, and Motokuni. While the first two have fun making funny faces to avoid crying knowing it's their last day together, Motokuni can't help but shed a single tear, despite trying to appear tough on the outside. After the ceremony, the male protagonist looks for Rin, and when he finds her, she becomes happy to see him. He can't help but notice sadness on Rin's face, no matter how much she acts like a cold and emotionless girl. When he tells her that he notices her sadness, she begins to cry and says she will miss him a lot. In response, Eiji tells her that they will be able to see each other from time to time since he assumes she won't have classes in the afternoon. She confirms his assumption, and after this, he doesn't hesitate to invite her to his house that same afternoon, as well as every other afternoon they can meet. The first afternoon Eiji officially invited Rin to his house was when he graduated from high school. The boy introduced the girl to his mother, and while everything was going well, Rin got so nervous that she couldn't help but say a lot of nonsense. Among those things, Rin accidentally revealed to Eiji's mother that she had set out to fulfill the boy's greatest wish, to have a harem, and she achieved this by acting with different personalities. When the mother hears this, she is left perplexed and speechless. After this, Rin enters Eiji's room, where she can't help but notice he has many scribbled notebooks. She asks him what he plans to do with them, to which he responds that he plans to throw them away, not only because they're useless, but also because his mother forced him to. This isn't a problem, but it becomes one when Rin finds a drawing made by Eiji in which he recreated the trip to Kyoto that the two of them took. She becomes sad knowing that the boy intends to throw this piece of art away, but she becomes even sadder when he tells her that he also plans to throw away his high school uniform. As a result, the protagonists start arguing, and their argument becomes so loud that Eiji's mother manages to hear them. The problem is that she overheard a rather peculiar phrase that made her think something inappropriate, and because of this, she didn't dare enter the room. A little later, the protagonists set their argument aside and start wasting time doing childish activities like playing with clay or making origami. While wasting time on these activities, Rin realizes they're acting like children, and she tells Eiji she would like to act a bit more mature. The boy suggests they be more mature, and the best activity he can think of to demonstrate maturity is by giving her a hug. When the boy extends his arms, Rin gets so nervous that her temperature rises too much. The next day, Eiji decides to act like a teenager for a day. The first thing he does is show up to meet Rin wearing his high school uniform. After this, they have fun moments where Eiji acts like a complete child, even though he's already in college. Obviously, Rin enjoys it because she loves the younger Eiji. In the middle of their outing, they randomly bump into Rin's little sister. The little sister starts sneezing, indicating she's about to get sick. To prevent this, Eiji gives her a pair of gloves, and after that, he acts like a child in front of the little girl to cheer her up and make her smile. After this, Rin becomes happy because despite Eiji acting like a child, she knows very well that he acts like an adult in difficult situations like this one. On the way home, Rin asks her sister to lend her the gloves Eiji gave her, to which Ayaka refuses, as they were a gift from Eiji just for her. On another day, Eiji asks Rin to help him choose clothes that will make him look a bit more mature. She agrees and doesn't hesitate to show up earlier than expected outside the clothing store, though to her surprise, Eiji is already waiting for her. Because of this, they both realize they were eager to see each other, which is why they both arrived earlier than expected. Putting that aside, when it's time to buy clothes, Eiji tries on dozens of combinations, and with Rin's great help, he was able to find clothes that make him look mature. However, despite this, Eiji bought a rather flashy shirt that didn't match the mature style he wanted to project to others, and this obviously upsets Rin, as she feels her help was in vain. A little later, the protagonists visit a cat cafe. Here, Eiji is quickly surrounded by all the cats in the place, while Rin finds herself talking to a particular cat since it meows every time she speaks. Because of this, Rin becomes quite fond of this cat, which makes Eiji feel jealous of her. For this reason, he decides to disturb Rin's peace by bringing her the dozen playful cats that had surrounded him earlier. After visiting the cat cafe, our protagonists head home, and on the way, they chat. Eiji lets Rin know that he won't see her until the following week. Because of this, before going their separate ways home, he gives her a warm hug. She's taken aback, but this didn't stop her from returning the hug. The following week, Eiji arrives worried to tell Rin something very important. He tells her that a girl invited him out, but since he wasn't prepared, he turned her down. The problem with all of this is that he feels bad for rejecting the girl because she started crying uncontrollably in front of him. Faced with this, Rin is left speechless and simply tells Eiji that she doesn't know what to say as she has no idea how to advise him. Ironically, Rin's words were enough for Eiji, as he would be in the same place as Rin if something like what happened to him happened to her. After what happened, Rin was left quite depressed, as she couldn't bear the fact that Eiji was a popular guy at his university. This burned her up inside, and to make matters worse, Megyu and Ayaka started teasing her, telling her that Eiji probably already had his long-desired harem of girls at the university. Because of this, Rin couldn't take the torment any longer, so she decided to make a video call with Eiji to ask him directly if he had become popular at school. He replied no, clarifying that the girl who confessed to him was a low-profile girl, and the ones who complimented his new style were just guys he knew. Thanks to this, Rin calmed down, but that didn't stop the thought that Eiji could become popular with the girls sooner or later. For this reason, she told him she would go to his university the next day, although she didn't explain her motives. The boy agreed but told her she would have to sneak in since high school students were not allowed on university grounds without some kind of permit. So the next day, Rin sneaked into Eiji's university, and since she couldn't walk the hallways without his supervision, she was limited to staying close to him at all times. During the university classes, our protagonists started having fun like they used to when they both attended high school. While doing this, two girls suddenly came over to greet Eiji, which immediately caught Rin's attention. She began to suspect that these two girls were interested in him, so she asked if he knew them. He replied yes, as both belonged to the university's drama club, the same club he attended. Upon hearing this, Rin became alarmed, believing that the boy had truly become popular, so she didn't hesitate to reveal to the girls that she had come to the university just to check if Eiji was popular or not. The girls invited her to lunch, and during lunch, they confessed that Eiji was not a popular guy, he was just an ordinary boy. The only thing they highlighted about Eiji was that he, along with Motokuni and Sugudo, were troublemakers who drew a lot of attention, but that didn't make them popular. Thanks to these words, Rin was greatly relieved to know that Eiji wasn't popular. Later, Rin performed a romantic scene alongside a blonde student from the university's drama club. The girl's great acting left everyone, especially Eiji, quite impressed. He didn't hesitate to take credit for Rin's success by clarifying to everyone that it was him who brought her to the university in the first place. As Rin continued her performance with the blonde boy, the scene escalated to become overly romantic, something that filled Eiji with jealousy. As a result, Eiji became so enraged that he decided to intervene in the scene, taking Rin away. Once they were alone, she asked him for an explanation as to why he interrupted the scene like that. He responded that he did it because he was worried about her, as he thought the blonde guy might do something inappropriate. Hearing this, Rin was glad that Eiji had intervened in the scene, and she didn't hesitate to jokingly propose to him. This, of course, shocked Eiji, so Rin explained it was just a joke. The next day, Rin was overjoyed with what had happened with Eiji the day before. She was so happy that she wasted time having fun with Megyu. While they were reenacting silly scenes, a student named Kiri Shirasawa suddenly showed up, asking Rin to help her practice some lines, to which our female protagonist agreed without hesitation. While practicing, Kiri revealed to Rin that she couldn't focus on the lines because her mind was elsewhere. Rin told Kiri that it was probably because she was in love with someone from high school. Upon hearing this, Kiri said that might be the case, as ever since she saw Rin perform in the play Snow White, she had developed great admiration for her. Rin felt flattered but believed that Kiri's admiration for her was just that, admiration. In response, Kiri didn't take long to confess that she felt like she was in love with Rin. But since she wasn't sure, she quickly retracted her words. Rin, for her part, became quite nervous about the strange situation to which a simple line practice had escalated. Days later, while Eiji was walking Rin home, she decided to invite him in since her parents were away on a trip. Faced with this, the boy was stunned, as it would be the first time he will enter Rin's house. When Eiji enters Rin's house for the first time, he's stunned as it's his first time being there. After the girl gives him a tour of the whole house, the only thing left is to see her room. Eiji is excited to see Rin's room, but to his disappointment, she's not willing to show it to him. Later, they pretend to be a newlywed couple and show off their cooking skills, where Rin is the only one who truly shines. Eiji is so impressed by Rin's abilities that he immediately asks her to teach him how to cook. She agrees but presents herself as a provocative teacher, which makes Eiji very nervous. After this scene, the boy hears noises outside and concludes that it's coming from a festival. Rin confirms this, and since they are alone, she doesn't hesitate to ask him to go to the festival together. He refuses, as he prefers to stay home with her rather than be outside surrounded by many people. This moves Rin, but since she really wants to see the festival fireworks, she decides to take Eiji to her room so they can watch them from there. Once in Rin's room, Eiji tries to figure out what things she has in her room, something that's difficult to do because the lights are off. While the boy does this, Rin snuggles up on his shoulder and both seem comfortable until suddenly, Megu calls Rin on the phone. After the call, the protagonists pull away from each other, startled, and Eiji agrees to go to the festival with Rin, though she has other plans. The girl approaches Eiji, takes his hand, and without hesitation kisses him. After this kiss, Rin confesses to him that she had wanted to do this ever since they first entered her room. Days later, everything that happened is left behind as Eiji has to focus on finishing his university assignments. He has so much work that it's impossible for him to finish before the vacation ends, even if Rin is willing to help him. In the same way, she also has an assignment from her high school, a play. When she gives Eiji the script for the play, the boy is surprised to see that at the top of the script are several notes about the different personalities Rin has performed for him. The boy laughs at the situation as Rin took the time to write down every tiny detail about each of her personalities, but at the same time it depresses him because he feels he doesn't deserve someone like Rin spending so much time on him. For this reason, the next day, Eiji goes to the store to see what he can buy for Rin, not only because he wants to feel useful to her, but also because her birthday is approaching. Days later, the cultural festival at Rin's high school arrives and she dresses up as an arrogant boy since she's going to participate in the gender-swapped race event. At that moment, Kiri arrives, also dressed as a boy, but as a quieter and more reserved one. Upon seeing this, Megu can't help but run over to Kiri and give her a tight hug, as it seems Megu has a thing for low-profile guys. Leaving this aside, when the gender-swap race begins, problems arise. First, Rin trips as soon as the race starts as it's her first time wearing high heels. She quickly takes them off and continues the race, and luckily, she manages to catch up with the other competitors. When it's Kiri's turn, she starts running clumsily and slowly, until she eventually falls to the ground and faints. Because of this, Rin rushes to help her, though she's surprised when Kiri tells her that it was all an act to prove she's worthy of being in the drama club. At first, Rin is happy, but then she regrets trusting Kiri, as she really wanted to win the gender swap race. Days later, Rin's birthday arrives and Eiji gives her a bracelet. This gift leaves Rin impressed and she doesn't hesitate to show her happiness to the boy. Unfortunately, this happiness doesn't last long as Eiji suddenly tells her that he couldn't afford to give her anything more than the bracelet because he's saving up to buy a gift for a special girl. Rin thinks this girl is someone from Eiji's university, which makes her sad and brings her to tears. Because of this, Rin is very upset with Eiji, and even though she says she's completely fine, her face shows otherwise. As a result, Eiji had to explain to her that when he said he was saving money for a special girl, he meant her, as there is no other girl in his life besides her. Rin is comforted by his words, but her face still shows displeasure from the brief sadness Eiji made her feel. On a new day, Eiji reveals to Rin that he got his driver's license, and now that he has a car at his disposal, he didn't hesitate to become her chauffeur. After a long drive, during which Rin fell asleep due to the length of the trip, the two finally arrive at a luxurious store. Here, Rin starts trying on clothes and wanting to include Eiji in the activity. She asks him to pick an outfit for her. He doesn't hesitate to choose a school uniform, and when she puts it on, it leaves Eiji more than surprised as Rin begins to act like the tsundere character she used to portray. Afterward, they visit the beach, where they start having fun by playing childishly. Rin doesn't enjoy playing this way as she's afraid the beach waves will sweep her away, so she stops playing. Seeing this, Eiji is so disappointed that he wants to go home, but before he can do so, Rin stops him by grabbing his arm firmly. This causes both of them to trip and end up in a compromising position. While Rin is on the ground, the water from the beach begins to slowly soak her, which could be bad for her health the next day. Because of this, Eiji doesn't hesitate to pull her away and ask if she's okay after the fall. He seems so concerned for her that Rin begins to doubt whether he's truly worried, as she feels Eiji might be faking it to take advantage of her tsundere act. Ironically, Eiji admits that he is genuinely worried about her and proves it by telling her that he loves her tsundere personality just as much as her other personalities. Upon hearing this, Rin is speechless, as Eiji practically confessed that he loves her. The next day, Eiji continues in his role as chauffeur, and this time he drives Ayaka to her school. On the way, she asks him to play some music on the radio, to which he agrees. The music is from an anime Ayaka usually watches, so she can't help but sing along during the whole trip. Once they arrive at their destination, Ayaka asks her sister to sing a little, which makes Rin very nervous as she doesn't usually sing, especially not in front of Eiji. After Ayaka gets out of the car, Eiji doesn't hesitate to tell Rin that sooner or later he'll hear her sing, and it's likely to happen when he takes her to a karaoke. On a new day, Sugudo informs Motokuni and Eiji that he's been assigned the task of filming a short film about love. Since Sugudo has no idea about the topic, he didn't hesitate to ask his friends for help. Motokuni is also clueless about love, so the task falls to Eiji. He's not entirely sure if he understands what love is, but he knows Rin could help him with it. When Eiji asks Rin for help, she accepts without hesitation. In this way, Rin becomes the female lead in Sugudo's short film. Eiji takes on the role of the male lead as the love story they are tasked with recreating as their own. As time passes, the two protagonists reenact several scenes where they interact, and although Eiji makes mistakes in some takes, Rin always shines by managing the situation with laughter. Once the short film is finished, it is showcased on social media. Megu and Kiri don't hesitate to congratulate Rin on her great performance, while Eiji can't help but feel embarrassed, thinking he's a poor actor next to Rin. This is confirmed when neither Megu nor Kiri congratulates him. Feeling sad, Eiji's spirits are lifted when Kiri notices his sadness and compliments his performance in the film, followed by Megu doing the same. He gets so happy that he promises to make DVD copies of the film for both her and Megu. Later, Eiji, Sugudo, and Motokuni are surprised to learn that the short film went viral on social media, and as a result, a talent agency wants to contact Rin to make her a professional actress. When the boys tell Rin this, she's initially happy but unsure about accepting the offer from the talent agency. The next day, Rin tells her friends about her dilemma, emphasizing that she doesn't want to accept the agency's offer because it would mean leaving the country, and that's something she doesn't want, as the thing she wants most is here, Eiji. Because of this, Rin has to choose between pursuing her dreams of becoming a professional actress or staying to live with the boys she likes. Megu gives her wise advice, telling her that whatever decision she makes, everything will be fine because in the end, she can be happy either way. This reassures Rin a lot, but her calmness fades when Eiji messages her asking to meet and talk about the future. Before meeting Eiji, Rin visits the high school at night, and after going to the drama club room, she begins to remember the good moments she shared with Eiji. Among those memories, one stands out where she confesses her feelings to him, and since he felt the same from the start, the two instantly became a couple, something that only now becomes clear. Because of this, Rin can't help but cry uncontrollably, as she doesn't want to leave Eiji to chase her dreams. At that moment, Eiji appears and doesn't hesitate to convince her that her dreams are more important than any relationship. He also tells her that he will try to keep up with her, assuring her that life will eventually bring them back together, no matter where it takes them. Rin is comforted by Eiji's reassuring words, and after that, the two act like a lovely couple, enjoying and sharing a sweet romantic moment with a passionate kiss. Years later, Eiji works as a set designer for television shows, and thanks to this job, he is able to reunite with Rin after a long time, who is now a full-fledged professional actress. The two are happy to be together again, and now that life has brought them back together after both achieving their dreams, they are not going to turn back on their relationship. Eiji doesn't hesitate to propose to Rin, and although she is very surprised by the sudden proposal, she accepts. Ironically, the wedding takes place in the Calvin High School Drama Club room, with all the friends they made in the club present and happy to witness this great moment.